Okay, so we got some theoretically, these companies have got some additional time to do whatever they're going to do to try to onshore as much as possible. Some of that is already taking place. We've heard about a GM truck factory or something that's been got some employees coming back and whatnot. So I guess, some of these facilities that are still workable, that would still be able to make a product decently at some kind of a price that's acceptable, they'll be bringing those back early. But if they have 2 to 3 years, they should be able to make it work, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, so the reason the reason they moved this assembly to Mexico is to make their economics work. And so now you're bringing it back. So like for some of these lines like Silverado, it's my understanding that there's assembly in multiple countries, and
Mm.
and the supply chain is also in spread out in multiple countries.
Sure.
So each one you have to almost double click into and understand. So just because they say, okay, Silverado is made in Mexico, there's some in Canada, and there's some in Indiana or Ohio or wherever the plant is. Just because that plant in the U.S. is underutilized doesn't mean that you can just bring it all here, fully utilize it, and not have a cost issue.
Right.
So what's gonna happen is you're gonna help the economics of that line that was already built in the U.S. You're gonna bring those costs down. But those ones that were probably doing assembly abroad were much less, a much less lower labor cost area. You're going to have a bit of an issue. You're going to get some offset with logistics costs coming down, but still, it's going to be a big issue. So this whole thing with this tariff relief and then this rebate on the sale of the vehicle,
Mhm.
and basically if you're over 85% U.S. content, it's going to be a net zero. It's going to
Right.
be still going to be a cash issue for a lot of companies with their very long supply chains and all their channel inventory. I don't know when the credit strike. It's the credit factory to dealer. Is the factory
Right.
is the credit? I don't know when the credit is applied. It's another good question. But long story short, it's not a slam dunk just because the U.S. is doing, they're giving some sort of leniency here. It's not a slam dunk for these companies. Still, they're
Mhm.
going to have a cash issue, and they have to fix their economics to do more assembly in the U.S. You can't just say I'm going to do more assembly in the U.S. and then magic fairy dust comes out, and all of a sudden, oh, I still have the same labor costs as I did when I was in Mexico. Well, no, you'd have to pull like 80% of the people off the line to be able to do that. So what does that look like? This is where they all run into trouble. They all run into trouble, especially Stellantis, is the number of models they have.
Yeah.
This thing of like, I'm going to have 40 or 50 models, and that's how I'm going to grow my top line. That works a little bit in globalization of supply chain. But when you're forced in localization and you've got to deal with the labor rates in some of these high cost areas, EU, Tesla, Berlin, US, the Tesla plants, Tesla's ability, the low model count from Tesla is a huge advantage for them. Huge advantage in terms of utilization in the gigafactory, huge advantage with leverage with suppliers because it's not the total volume your company ships, it's the volume per part number you're procuring.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand that. This is why Tesla has insane leverage with their supply base, and they get really good leverage in their gigafactories because guess what? If you're not changing lines over, you're just building cars. That changeover time of taking the line down and then bringing it back. Look what it did to Tesla's economics in Q1.
Mhm.
Destroyed
Mhm.
their economics. I mean, Tesla, look what it did to their OpEx.
Right.
All those weeks of downtime destroyed their OpEx for Tesla. So think about that in terms of all these companies that have all these products, all these models, and all they're doing is changing over. And that changeover time, that's no benefit to the consumer. That's no benefit to their economics. It's only a detriment. So the other thing these companies are going to have to do besides redesigning their products for faster assembly time, less labor content, they're going to have to reduce the model count.
One would think. One would think.